Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
So Bobby Porter is the founder and president of Quantum Learning Network. And today she is going to talk about the need and impact of effective teaching and learning. And before I talk about her work, I would just like to share uh, that I had the honor of interacting with Bobby during our Meet the Master series of the World Parliament of Spirituality. And she really gave me a tip on how to be a great listener. So I follow that. Thank you so much, Bobby. Just want to share a little more about her work. Bobby Porter is the co-founder and president of Quantum Learning Network, QLN, and is an early pioneer in the field of accelerated learning. Her Super Camp Learning and Life Skills Youth Program, now in its 40th year, has over 85,000 students and is offered in 14 countries. Her Quantum Learning Education Division produces worldwide programs for teachers, administrators, students, parents, and thousands of schools and districts. Through these programs and the 8 Keys of Excellence movement, she has impacted millions of young people. Bobby is the author of over a dozen books on teaching and learning and the recipient of several humanitarian awards. Bobby, would love to hear you speak. The stage is all yours.
And thank you for that. Been at it a long time. And I know many people that have joined us here have also been doing the work for a long time, making a difference out in the world. It's just wonderful to be with you, to be with like-kind people, hearing about people speaking already just about the importance of heart space and connection and emotion and all of that coming together is so important, because with education, I think one of the key things that is so important is that connection. So we're connecting with each other, and just want to acknowledge everyone who has come on, because you're coming from a certain place. You know, that's something that drew us here, and about spirituality and about heart space and about positivity and how important that is out in the world. And it really creates, I think, supports that critical mass to really get it out there in the world. And that's what we're about. You know, it's often said that what we're doing, the work we're doing, is more important than ever. And I know that it's always important. I mean, this has been the work for a long time, but there has been a shift in the world this year. And we do know that it's like up the ante, up our attention, up whatever place that we are right now with the work that we're doing. I feel like it's supercharged right now. We really need to reach out there further. Our view on education is that education should be joyous. It should be engaging. It should be connected. It should be fun, you know, and that we always check in with ourselves and those that we're teaching is, what's the attitude? What's our attitude? You know, we have choice in our attitude, and what is it? Because we want to be enthusiastic. We want to be engaging. We want to create this attitude of being a lifelong learner. And I think about in education that we are going for the curiosity. You know, we want to be curious about everything. And that puts the joy in learning, because you feel so good. It's like, you know, you just wonder. I wonder what that's about. I wonder where that could take me. I wonder who else is doing this work. I wonder how it's associated with each other, because it's that aliveness. And I love the word joy and wonder. We actually in our building have a statue at the front door, and it's this woman, and she's like just joy and wonder to me, because it's just so important to come from that place. And right now where we are with the world in education, I know schools everywhere, there's this balance of, okay, are we online virtual learning from home? You know, we're doing it in our county right now, and there's a few schools that can do hybrid, but it's very seldom that it is, you know, fully in person at this point in time. And so I was talking to a principal just yesterday, and it was, he all of his students are online, virtual, and some weren't showing up. So, you know, he made home visits. He made 12 home visits in the last couple of days and went into the homes of the students. And what he came out with was just this feeling of sadness. There just was a heaviness with the students, and even some of them being depressed at the time. So it is, I felt it. I really felt it. And there's so much we can do, and we need to reach out. When I say there's never been a time more important, there's never been a time more important to make that connection, to feel the emotion of the students and what's going on. Because for us, I mean, this is my purpose in life, you know, decades ago. I feel so fortunate that I find that I bring such joy to me. I love to learn and be curious and be a lifelong learner. And how do we bring that into the online world? And that's what we're all about. And emotion is so important, and it's that connection. So when we're doing virtual right now too, you know, there's always content, whether you're in the live classroom or in online. It's this connection of people see me, people know who I am, I'm connected. I know we just did a month, well, in this July, we did a month-long course with 150 students. And the things that they were saying is like had been spent a month being online learning, and they felt finally, I feel seen, I feel connected. And one of my favorite, just heartfelt, was a boy saying, I feel accepted. I feel accepted who I am. And that makes me want to turn on my camera, actually participate, actually say things, because there's so much emotion that is in the importance of what it is that we're doing. And we want to give hope. We want to have a feeling of I'm seen. And, you know, with teachers, they want this, you know. So many teachers are frustrated right now because, you know, that a lot of them, it's like, I don't know how specifically to do that. You know, I'm highly trained in my content. I'm highly trained and I live my content, but how do I connect that to the students? You know, that they don't start saying, oh, I'm going into teaching to be boring and have kids be miserable. No, it's like every teacher, so honor teachers. They're there because they have a passion. They want to make a difference for kids. They want it to come alive, and sometimes they don't know how. So the effectiveness of the teacher is so important. There was a study, I think it's the biggest study that was ever done on education, because it was from Dr. William Saunders, and it was about Tennessee value added assessment. It involved 7 million children over 5 years, and they tracked every child with every teacher every year they had and their progress. And after all that data, after all that happened, the number one for students feeling successful, for students achieving, was the effectiveness of the teacher. And so, you know, there's so many assumptions in education. We started our youth program that we're doing that's now all around the world, and it was because there's an assumption kids go to school so they should know how to study, you know, and oftentimes they have not been taught effectively, and the students say, why didn't anybody teach that to me before? And then when we work with teachers, they went to university and college and so excited and so passionate, and they get in front of their classroom and they're passionate, but they're not seeing the result with the teachers. So we really get down to what makes an effective teacher, what makes the ability to engage and connect with students, you know, and that we have two things we say, it's culture and cognition. And the culture is all about the social, emotional, and connecting, and the space and the safety and all that's there. And then the cognition is also how to teach the content in a way that makes connections and meaning to the students in their lives. But, you know, we hear from teachers, they have so much content to teach. I don't have time to get through it. I don't have time for this. And what we found is even a teacher that, you know, took 3 weeks creating this beautiful culture that was, you know, safe and emotionally safe, and all of what she was doing, and other teachers saying, you know, how can you spend 3 weeks doing that? But that teacher ended her content earlier and got better results. So we want to focus on the how, how to engage, how to do that. And the emotional part, which I know many here are going to touch on too, because it's so important, because if the students are in a place of isolation, social isolation, emotional isolation, and they have that fear and upset or anger or other things that are going, it's not fair. We know what's going on in the brain. The emotional control center is taking over, the amygdala and such. And we say sometimes commandeering, the rational thought, the prefrontal cortex. And we need a safe place. We need the students' brains to calm down so that they can be present. And I know that's a lot of it too. It's how do you get yourself in a place of just being present with others that are there, and being present with the content, being present with myself. You need to breathe and be calm and be able to make those connections. So we do focus on culture, and spend the time on the culture and what that means. We have something we call a home court advantage, because in sports, the home team does have an advantage because they feel more at home there, and they do better statistically. It's been proven that there's better results. So in our home court advantage, we talk about three things, which is safety, support, and belonging. And with safety, a lot of it is the rapport of the teacher. It's that connection and heart space. And we say, know their world. You want to connect with your students. So know their world. We say we don't talk like them or act like them or maybe listen to what the music they listen to, but we're aware. We show respect to the student when we know what their interests are, when we know what they're listening to, when they know what they're going on in their life. And then we say, we go to their world and learn about them. Then we earn the right to bring them into our world and listen to what we have to share. So it's about safety and knowing who they are. And that's when they feel safe, they're going to participate more. And we know that they have to participate to learn. We say attention is necessary for learning. We need to have a safe place where they're not down in their fear space, when they're actually in a calm enough place to listen. And when they have that rapport, it's just so important. And another is support. We say acknowledge your student. And we go beyond. It's not like a student does a great job on a project and we say, hey, high five, good job. Well, that's kind of nice, but the student, it's like, well, do they really know what I was doing? But if we take the time to really acknowledge people, I know who you are. I acknowledge you for the effort that you put into this project. I know it was something that you didn't know much about, and you put in the time to really study and talk to people and watch videos on the subject. And I really saw that you cared about doing a good job. And I acknowledge you for that. That is so much more meaningful than walking by and say, hey, good job. And the other is safety, support, and belonging. You know that we belong in our family. We go to school, we want that sense of belonging. These are my people, this is my space. And this is what you're creating here on this too with all of us, because we share so much in belonging. And a great way to create that belonging is a sense of traditions, set traditions. It could be when you come into the classroom is, checking in. It's like this teacher saying, how do you feel? And I feel good. Oh, so good. Or I have a choice in how I feel. This is great. Or a certain music that's played when they come in, but just that they know this is my place. This is my tribe. This is where I belong. And it makes all the difference in the world for them. So that's all the emotional part. We also talk about social, because now more than ever with being online, so many students feel isolated. So we have to reach across the screen and bring them in and connect with them. We need to spend that time for the students to get to know each other, because they need to know a little bit about each other to feel safe. Am I going to share in front of these people? But when students get a little vulnerable, when you create the safe space and they'll share about themselves, then they are more likely to open with each other. So, you know, we have our 8 keys of excellence that has a lot of social connection, but that's part of creating our tribe too. Everybody agrees to live by these principles, which are integrity and commitment and ownership and being responsible and bringing balance to our life. These are part of our 8 keys of excellence that the students embrace and feel proud that they're living them. And that creates a foundation of how do I operate in this space? So it's all about that social emotional connection and spending time on the culture. So it's all about connection, know their world and create rapport. It's about engagement, create safety so they'll participate and have that. And it's about joy, acknowledge them and bring joy, because learning is just so exciting. And my favorite words are joy and wonder. So, and always get in that space as we start to teach or create our communities. Thank you.